Thanks, everybody. It's so great to be with you in this setting. For our listeners, I'm here with Marian, Huggins, Isaac Shub, Seth Godfrey, and Louis Chavez-Brumell, our partners with the New Haven Free Public Library. And it's great to see you. I'm eager to talk to you about the programming that we've been doing and some of the things we have upcoming. But first, I just thought I'd take an opportunity. I mean, this whole Democracy in America series, we've been thinking, a couple of times a month, putting our heads together and thinking about the state of our democracy. And I would love to hear you all reflect on the work that you do in one of our important, robust democratic institutions, the public library, and how you think of your own work as a librarian as being related to the broader principles and problems of the town square and our public discourse. Should just jump in as you like.
Yeah, do you want to go around and I guess I could start off and then go with, from my angle, Marian, Seth, and Isaac, so I want to give everyone a chance. So it's really interesting, kind of in my role, starting off as a librarian. I started off this semester as Wilson Branch Manager, and now I'm the Deputy Director of the New Haven Free Public Library System. And so thinking of the role of a library in democracy, it's really fascinating to think about the holistic aspects of the work. And so the mission of the New Haven Free Public Library is to make experiences and resources, accessible to the public for everyone. And so our role is obviously complicated with COVID-19. So we're grateful for this programming, online virtual program that we've had with Democracy in America, but in all of our other regular programming, from story times with children to entrepreneurship programs. And so really the role of the library is going to serve as a resource that's going to help people solve problems with the power of knowledge. And if you think about it broadly, just everything with the COVID vaccine, just having that accessibility towards knowledge, and then especially with a lot of our patrons, these basic services. So the internet as a de facto public utility and the political implications of that with the democracy. But I'll just kind of leave it out to give everyone a chance, but just the idea that the public library helps you really in the act of humanization, right? And to really be a full-fledged member of democracy, to having access to knowledge, resources. Just so many patrons are so grateful for our services, whether it's from curbside pickup to Democracy in America, to even just being able to file for unemployment in a lobby or in the tech center with Seth and his team. So it's just definitely kind of our role to be more full-fledged members of society. So Marian, have any thoughts?
It's hard with COVID because my view and like my life mission of library work has always been having the library as a place. This is a place, there's no charge to come in. You can come in if you're Black, white, male, female, old, young. You can sit down, you can stay all day and nobody's gonna tell you to leave. In that sense, it was the last bastion of democracy. And honest, it's like we read in that book, Louise, that the man said that if you approach somebody now and said, hey, let's build these buildings and fill them with books and computers and give the people internet, and it's gonna be free, the person will look at you like you're crazy. Like nobody would invent this now, Now with COVID, it's curtailed, but we are printing things for people. A lot of people can access things on their phone, but they can't print it out. So we made a way, we wrote the phone number on the door. So they come to the door and they send us their print job and we print it out and we hand it to them. Of course, they get their books and DVDs. We hand it to them at the door. So, we're doing part of our mission, the part that we can do, but I'll be more than happy that when we can do our whole mission.
Yeah, that printing service, that's an amazing thing to do for a community. And it's just great that you're doing that. And I will imagine that a lot of the things that people are asking you to print are like really crucial things, like documents for applications, for aid, or whatever.
It's when they sign up to take the driving test. You have to show up with your appointment on a piece of paper. your car insurance cards. They can send it to you electronically, but you have to print it out to have it in the car. So it's like, because we have access to everything, and I have so many pieces of paper that I'm just like lost in paper, it doesn't occur to me personally that people don't have a way to get a piece of paper. They can't take what's on their phone and change it into a piece of paper. So it's a really important service.
Yeah, that's great that you're doing that.
Oh, go ahead, Seth.
Oh, sorry. It's interesting, your notion of place. And I guess I really missed it, I think, when we first started. I mean, just it's so wonderful. I'm sure, Wilson, when you got Democracy America started, the fact that, we converge in the program room. Basically, I'm saying I miss the coffee and cookies. I think it was wonderful. It's like part of my DNA, the schmooze, the get together. I mean, it's like thousands of years of my DNA, my people, this notion of, but it was just that interchange. And I guess it's a paradox, because on the other hand, it's interesting with Zoom, and I think we maybe have to quantify it or figure out, but it can reach the world. I mean, as we're promoting it, it's using Eventbrite as a tool. I mean, it's been sent out, Europe, Asia, whatever, and the fact that we're all being connected. I love that idea of the library. I've always wanted to see New Haven or any place. It's because it gives dignity. I mean, when people think of the U.S., this horrible Trump era, but we can come back and we can say, hey, the library is an institution. We were able to foster dialogue. We had some, we're looking to really, to examine democracy and this great interchange, and some wonderful scholars. So I'm very fortunate that. So it's just, on one hand, it's nice to be in the room, the cookies, the coffee, but other hand, it's just, we can figure out who's out there, and it's, the world's your oyster, and it's just so many things we have untapped. I think, Matt, I sent to you, it's very interesting, somebody who at Tehran University, I found interesting, he was American Studies and he had lived here. So the potential is so great. I mean, our discussion, we have an administration that's so bellicose, but here we are, problem solvers, and just this dialogue, which is so missing, which I just so cherish in these evenings.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, they've kind of said it all, but the place of a truly public institution it does seem like it's really diminished in its place in the United States. It is definitely an age of democracy in crisis, and you have a lot of people over the last few years kind of yelling, well, there's an excess of democracy. I mean, I'm not sure if this is like the kind of trilateral commission argument. There's too much democracy. This is a problem. The people, are they're populists. And populism has meant both a right-wing thing and a left-wing thing. So I tend to believe that an informed population can, make good decisions. And in that sense, the library is this truly public place. And my feeling is that in order to have any sense of what a public institution means, you have to kind of experience it, live in it, walk through it. Otherwise, it's hard for me, like as someone born in the early 90s, to really conceptualize what the country would be like if it was more powered by its public institutions. So, like the library, I mean, we're like everyone has said, I'm coming in contact, as a non-librarian, I should specify. I don't know if I said that to begin with, but I'm coming in contact with a lot of people who are trying to do these very essential, basic things. They're trying to apply for a job, they're trying to apply for benefits, and this is, people might be shocked to find this is one of the few places where people can come in and print something, or they can come in and unfortunately, and can get the kind of help that older people or people who might have other problems need with technology, which is just, it's not, I mean, this is like a really universal thing. many people, including people my own age, struggle with these technological challenges. And it's like, I'm teaching someone how to copy and paste,
Right.
Maybe that sticks with them. Maybe it doesn't, but hopefully, I can help them accomplish a task. So, I mean, that's just part of what it's meant for me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, I'm going to really just quickly add, but Marian had mentioned a book that you read by a sociologist at New York University, Eric Lindenberg, called Palaces for the People. And it talks about the public library's vital social infrastructure. And so there's kind of this idea of not just physical infrastructure, but social infrastructure, this kind of how do you help communities thrive? And that's also part of our value system as well, kind of coalesce with everyone else was saying. So I just want to add it quickly. So I'm sorry, man. Thank you.
No, not at all. No, it's I love that comment, Marian, that that a public library is something that couldn't be invented right now. It had to. We're lucky it was invented when it was, but our social fabric just wouldn't even suggest it, let alone sustain it right now. And I think that's one of the things that makes it so precious. And I think I'm hopeful. I mean, we all look forward to the day where we can all be in the same room again. But that notion of the public library as a really important place, a space in the city, I think is absolutely crucial. And we're all eager to get back to it. Marian, can you talk a little bit about the book group groups that you've been running? And I know that you've done a lot of really, really important work getting people together to talk about important books and important topics.
It's called the Urban Life Experience Book Discussion Series, started in 2015. We've been meeting for almost 5 years. And, sometimes you get a group that's steady for 6 months and those people fall off, and then you get another group. But lately, since we've been online, it's been a really faithful group. The other thing about being online is that it's almost convenient. Mm-hmm. People don't need a ride. Really, you put on a shirt, right? We don't know what you don't have on. And people have really, really been engaged. I mean, it's been amazing. We have a partnership with Project Longevity New Haven. And we read Dr. Lerone Bennett's book, The American Negro from 1619 to 1962. And we read it over like 2 months, and we had 7 sessions. The people have been faithful, 14, 15 people a session, but the same group, very solid questions. The thing is that I think that I'm an A1 reader, and those people, they read way closer than me. I'm scrambling through the book. What page was that? I mean, they are truly engaged and they truly want to learn. We're going to do another book. We're going to do Isabel Wilkerson's book, her first book, not Cass.
The migration.
The Warmth of Other Sons. And we're going to do that every Saturday during February and March. And, when you ask people, hey, you want to give up every Saturday? And they go, sure. When can I get my book? Can I come get it tomorrow? They are really engaged. So, it's been a great work. We read different kinds of books. Usually they have to do with social justice or with African-American history, but we've read some teen books. We've read some Latinx books. Mm-hmm. We read Into the Beautiful North. We read Elizabeth Acevedo. Help me out, Luis.
Acevedo, the Poet-X.
Yes,
the Poet-X. Yes. Great about Marian.
Great reception on that. I mean, when you ask middle-aged ladies, hey, you want to read a teenager book called The Poet-X? Sure. I think we had like 25 people. Yeah. I mean, the people, we're growing. We're not only just reading the same things over and over. We're reaching out and we're growing. So it's been fabulous. I mean, we read your friend's book, Emily Bernard, right?
Right.
Yeah. And just a quick brag about Marian and the whole group is specifically the Urban Life Experience book discussion. Marian started this about 5-6 years ago. So especially now in light of everything with 2020 and Black Lives Matter and George Floyd and everything, where it's been a huge uptick in circulation. And then when Marian transitioned from Wilson to Mitchell, that momentum carried over, and with like the circulation numbers went up, just wanting to read those books. And it's so important because to have literally going back to the idea of the place of here we have this multiracial community reading, humanizing, then having direct impact. Because with Marian's Project Longevity, she would have the administration of the New Haven Police Department coming in, and then we have them actually on camera saying, "Oh, I didn't realize until I went to this program at the library and understood, okay, this is what humanization means. This is the impact of these various different policies." And so to really emphasize that, having that discourse, is crucial, and to really expand consciousness and really re-educate the community on the canon. It's very important. It's a huge part of democracy. So thank you for that.
Great. Well, returning to Seth's point about what is possible on Zoom, nobody wished for this world, but here we are, and we're kind of learning some things about how to go about our work in new ways. And I think, personally, I'm very proud of the programming that we did in the fall. I think that we are learning how to make Zoom work for us. We're clearly reaching people that we wouldn't necessarily reach if we were, in the library itself. So we have some thinking to do, I think, going forward. I mean, obviously, we're all eager to get back into the building, but I think that some of the practices that we've cultivated on Zoom, I think, are things that we'll probably want to continue in some capacity or another. We have a ton more programming coming up starting in January. I'll just run through it just so people know kind of what's on the horizon. We have Paul Sabin. He's an expert in environmental history, and he'll be talking about climate politics and environmental politics. Daphne Brooks has a new book coming out on Black women's kind of Black feminism in popular culture, and she'll be here to talk about that. Dave Roediger will be talking about race and democracy. Phil Goff will be talking about policing. Joan Kavanaugh will be talking about her new book about the Winchester factory and the Winchester community. Chitra Ramalingam, who's now a fellow at the museum, the British Art Museum here at Yale, will be talking about decolonizing the museum. Chris Newfield is the leading expert on the history of higher education, and he'll be talking about the American university and the prospects for democracy in the 21st century. And then finally, Khalil Johnson, who teaches up the road at Wesleyan, will be talking about Native American education and some of the education practices in North America as an extension of imperialism. So it's quite a varied set of talks, once again, or dialogues. I'd love to just hear some of your reflections on the programming in the fall, or some of the things that stood out. How did you feel about the series as a whole?
I thought the series was fantastic. I mentioned right before you came on, and Seth, I had talked to you about this before. A lot of times when you're just at home, I'm at home at my dining room table, usually when I'm watching, I have no idea who else is watching besides Matt and the person that he's interviewing. And I said, I wish he gave us some kind of hint. And this very last time, Matt, you said, I see there's 60 of you. And that makes you feel good. Mm-hmm. That makes us feel like we're participating in something that's community, as opposed to watching a video.
Right.
So I like that. I like that you gave us a hint, like, okay, there's 60 of you, that feels good too. It does something for you. It makes you think you're doing something social.
Yeah.
But I thought the woman, Dr. Grewal, am I saying her name?
Zarina Grewal, yeah.
Oh, wow. I could have listened to her another hour easily. Mm-hmm. I mean, she was so enthusiastic about what she was talking about. The film, when she first showed the film, I thought, oh my God, a film? But boy, the film was something, right? Like, it took a minute to recover from the film. Yeah, so I thought it's been great. I just think it's been great. And this is something that you're giving to the people, and all they have to do is log in. I just wish it was a way that we could spread the word more, because we're getting academics
Yeah,
give a lecture for free.
for free.
You know?
Well, we're working on that. I think, that's one of our goals over the next months, is to see if we can jack those numbers up a little bit more.
Matt, it's interesting with Roberto Lovato having, it's so funny how, at this point in my life, at 62, and I'm reflecting back 30, 35 years ago, being active in CISPES and just that whole dynamic. I mean, what went on in El Salvador, being a part of CISPES, and just hearing Roberto, I mean, his struggle, but it was just, U.S. solidarity, folks here, and I mean, it's still going on, but it's just shocking what went on, and how this travesty of U.S. involvement. And I think this is what's so great about the series, really exposing. I mean, as a so-called democracy, how can we let these horrendous events go on? But it's so great to hear, when we have people like Roberto, who's a person who is, a Salvadoreño and, citizen of the U.S., but has this connection to both. We're hearing this firsthand. He's really, he's a journalist, and I call it the enlightenment. I mean, I see the library. I mean, it's just, via Zoom, and just with these discussions, which people aren't getting. And we're so fortunate that people are connecting in this way. And you're right. I mean, how do we get more people? I know there's a lot of competition. It's just, you think about what's going on, at any time on Zoom. So what is it that's going to draw people? I think this is a great challenge. I'm looking forward to the discussion and seeing where we go from here.
Yes.
It's a great product. As someone who's been in sales, you say, I got a great product. It's like my relatives, you got a great product. All right, what are you doing?
Branding.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's yeah, go ahead, Marian. Sorry.
I was going to mention that Khalil Johnson was scheduled for last April.
That's right. He was just put off by the pandemic.
And COVID did us in.
Yeah, well, he's back.
I'm glad.
Yeah.
Well, I was just going to say it's really a great series, and it's really great to have some role in it. Well, I think one of the aspects of it that is, really great for someone who is, like most of the listeners, not an expert in any particular field, is having you there, Matt, as someone who is, such an engaged listener and has such a grounding in American history and cultural relations. And so, just the first talk I gave an introduction for Jennifer Richardson was just incredibly engaging. The two of you, and the subsequent talks were terrific too. Marian, like you said, that the movie from Professor Graywall, showing that short movie, despite the technical problems, that Iñárritu film was just extremely affecting. And I think she said, like, I have some mixed feelings about this, about the film. Like, is it, does it focus unduly on, the idea of religious extremism and, a kind of East-West conflict or something, Muslim-Christian conflict. But to me, that's why I think people are and would be like eager to listen to these talks, because it's a time where there's just a kind of vacuum of confidence, and people are spending a lot of time online. We all know this stuff, but it's like people don't, myself included, don't always know, where do I invest my confidence? Where do I turn? What's the truth? To hear reasonable people talk about a specific thing, in detail is great. And then you also have like this opportunity for feedback and questions at the end, which we're definitely getting. And then
people are asking great questions too.
Yeah.
I'm always amazed at what comes over the transom when you start inviting the questions, and they've been great.
Yeah.
It's been wonderful, especially thinking back with everyone's great comments and thinking, okay, what's so different about this past semester and so special about it, and just kind of the responsiveness to the moment. So this idea with the 2020 elections and, oh my goodness, the role of the post office and having Phil Rubio as one of the speakers. And then, thinking going, beyond the little bubble of what Connecticut or Yale, having these other Roberto Lovato, and Rubio, and Andy Horowitz at Tulane, and he's coming back and sharing this knowledge, this expertise, and it's been amazing. It's just this practical questions, and really, connecting it back to what's happening in the world, and then also within like literature, where I read this book by the Nobel Prize winner Kazuo Ishiguro called The Buried Giant. And it pretty much won't spoil too much, but basically deals with Arthurian times, after King Arthur, and the role of memory playing a role in violence in the communities, and the author was inspired by the genocides of the 90s, and then listen to Roberto Lovato and the importance of unforgetting, and the role of we should not forget about things, but how do we navigate memory, and then thinking about public libraries as cultural institutions, and the role of as memory organizations, how do we preserve memory while bringing people together. And Democracy in America is a great way of doing that.
Yeah. Well, I just have to thank you guys. I mean, I hope it's apparent that I just love my Tuesday nights at the library. It's one of my favorite things. I feel like I got the last good job in America, but this is of all the things that I do that I really love. I love all of it. I love teaching. I love researching and writing, but these Tuesday nights are great. I really have come to appreciate, and I'm learning so much. So it's been a great experience, and I'm really looking forward to, onward we go, and somewhere on the horizon, the vaccine and in-person programming again. But thank you all for the work that you do and for this partnership, and I look forward to seeing you in the new year.
You too.
Thanks.
Excellent. Thank you so much. I enjoyed seeing you all.
Thanks.
Keep up the good work.
Stay well, everyone. Thank you.
Yeah, you too.
Yes, everybody stay well.